Okay. Excellent. Welcome to another episode.
What?
I don't know.
We're
I just
already
had to
laughing.
laugh. It's like I messed all the cameras up again. It's so much fun. Like Instagram had a big, zoomed in shot of my head. This is so much fun.
Okay.
So today
Yep.
we're in a cycle ending shift. Well, first we want to say welcome to another episode of Starseed Activations.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes, we do.
Yes, welcome,
We have
Jody.
so much to talk about in this
Yes.
hour. And so the energy is electric. It's wonderful. And so we want to jump right in. But always, Danielle and Elle, you are so right. We want to thank the star people. We want to do our ohms first and come back.
Yeah, and recalibrate ourselves. So everybody watching, if you guys can all join us, we are going to take a deep breath and we are going to release on an ohm. So what this actually does is it opens and expands the heart chakra, which then allows us to tune into a higher frequency, and it allows us all to become connected throughout time and space. This will work even if you are watching it on a replay. And it always is going to open your heart and start the process of healing your biological form, as well as putting you on the path of ascension. So ever so gently, dear ones, we'll take a deep breath in. One more deep breath in. And we just want to say thank you, dear star people, for channeling with us tonight. Thank you for assisting all of humanity on their path of evolution and ascension. And thank you for bringing forward the information that all of the people watching need to hear in order to help them. Yes. Welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you, Elle, for always being here for us and reminding us to center ourselves. And
always,
we have so much to talk about. Should we talk about the frequencies that we're in right now and did you call it a cycle ending shift?
Yes, I did. We should have did that post tonight because I have a post called Cycle Ending Shift. And that's the frequency of today. So we are noticing relationships falling apart, new things starting. Well, in my personal life, the fish died. And so, but that is a cycle ending. It's a life cycle. So whenever we start to notice that these little things are happening, we start to pay attention and we start to use that energy to benefit our lives. So today was definitely the day. And even tomorrow, start packing up some of the stuff in your house that you no longer is serving your highest and best, and just ever so gently release it. Remember, the more that you release, the more clean energy or new energies are going to be able to come into your life. Yeah.
Right. Nancy Hadley says she's moving on Friday.
Go, Nancy.
Perfect.
Yes.
And is this, a lot of people are losing things, are breaking things. So we want to be intentional about it. But sometimes, does the universe have to do it for us? Is that?
Yes. Sometimes you have to remember. So every single item, we'll use this crystal as an example. And so every single item holds a frequency. When we start the path of ascension, if our frequency raises too high, then this crystal's frequency, it'll disappear. It will break. Sometimes the crystals actually take the hit for us. So many times if we notice a crystal breaking, it's because there was darkness coming into our field. The crystal, because it energetically bonds with us, it will take any darkness and it will transmutate it for us so that but the second the crystal breaks, we're supposed to give it back to Mother Earth for a form of recalibration. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So how do we know how do we know to get rid of something? Like if a crystal breaks, we hear this, then we know, right? We won't
Yeah.
save the pieces of crystal. We won't,
No.
we'll understand it. But how does someone know in this era of fear, doubt, and insecurity and living in your mind, questioning things?
So the way that I always try and guide myself is if I look at an item, any item in my house, does it make me feel happy? Does it make me, or does it bring me joy? Does it make me feel, is it clean? Is it up to my standards? Is it old? Is it dirty? Is it scratched? How does it really, what emotion is it triggering? If we don't know how it makes us feel, simply hold it in your hands and look at it and close your eyes and sense with the body. Is this item in alignment with who my highest potential it wants me to become? Because if any item is not in alignment with my highest potential, we will get called any point of the journey, but we will eventually get called to release that item. Now, sometimes the items, there is the crystals really, but it's any item. They have a degree of multidimensionality to each and every item. And so depending on our frequency, we can raise too high, or we could lower too low. And then all of a sudden that item needs a form of recalibration. And so it may choose to vibrate into another dimension where we are unable to see it. I've seen this before, so I know. It's like we see it as,
we talked a little bit about this last week.
Yes.
That you only see what's in your dimension. You're able to see it when you're ready.
When you're ready, it will come to you. And so, and this is the reason why when we sit there, and some of the attachments do this too, which is really interesting, because there's times when you'll walk around your house for hours and you're just like, where'd my keys go? And the keys are completely missing. And then all of a sudden they're on the table when you search that table 100 times. And so the attachment latches onto your energetic grids and it pushes the thought, because it's an electrical impulse seeing stuff, and it makes it so you're unable to see the keys, which are right in front of you. This utilizes the reticular activating system.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. So how long is this cycle ending shift going to last? You said today, and right now.
Usually I just feel it. So I try not to really dive in too much to the horoscopes and all the numerology and all that stuff. I understand it. Yes, it is very positive and beneficial to be on top of that knowledge. However, in my personal life, I felt like I started using it as like it's happening, and then I would become aware of it before the shift would happen, and then I was like psyching myself up, and then the energy was completely different than what I had believed it to be. So that's just one example. So now I just try and feel through my life. I really try not to focus too much on the calendar. I try not to focus on time. I really try and stay grounded in the now moment as much as possible. Now, of course, if we have an appointment that we have to keep, we have to utilize time and space, because you have to be a responsible person and you have to respect other people's times. But
it's part of our experience here.
Yeah, that's part of the.
We signed up to have the yeah.
But
so I said, how long will?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I said, well, how long will it last? How long? So, and then you said, well, you know what? Don't rely on this. There's not something outside we can look at that will tell you. You have to feel it for yourself.
Yes.
So you are feeling for the collective, for all the people in this group.
Yes.
Right? But you're also saying to everyone in this group and everyone who will be watching now and in the future to hone in on their own. What do you see in your dimension? Is it the same for you? It feels like it for the group, but you're not telling them as if looking at a calendar.
No, absolutely not. And this is the important thing that every single one of us has to come to terms with along our path of evolution. My information, it's in alignment with me. It's correct. It's 1,000% truthful in my reality. However, my reality is my dimension. Now, the dimension, if you see us as one organism or one being here, I'm in a dimension, you're in your own dimension, because what you are seeing is totally different than what I'm seeing. Yes, we co-create. So in this very moment, we exist in a time and space reality in which we can agree that certain parameters of the simulation are identical. Okay. So we agree if we throw something up in the air, it's going to come down. We agreed that that was because of gravity. And now our consciousness is shifting, and now we're starting to come into more scientific awareness that things falling down is because of levity. So we could kind of see, and this is just one example of how once upon a time it was co-created to agree on gravity. And now we're stepping into the future. The science is changing, the physics is changing. Everything that we know is changing. Time and space is changing. Our bodies are changing. We're becoming more crystallized in our nature. So if everything changes, that means that the way that we believe and we know things has to change. Yes. And what you know will manifest. It's beautiful.
And what you know will manifest. Your reality will manifest. Yeah. Okay, so it's time to jump right into page 145.
Okay.
The knowledge activation. In Danielle's book, you're going to have to lift it up if you want them to see it, because my screen won't let me. Yes.
So my
Ascension Guide
by Danielle.
And each page is like a chapter in a regular book. Or, so page 145 is talking about knowledge activations. And so you just said knowledge will manifest. And you talked about gravity versus levity first. And we'll come back around to that when we talk about density and motion. I think that's our second page. So in this, it says all knowledge is in the form of a download or upload from the memory grid complex.
Yes.
Can you talk about what this means?
Sure.
So I'm thinking the books, traditional methods of learning, going online and looking at, are you talking about spontaneous downloads or uploads? How does this work exactly?
Okay. So when we have a bright idea, we think and we believe that that idea is something brand new. We came up with it, but that's not the way the thought grids work. We have thought grids and we also have emotion grids. When you put the two of them together, it forms a memory grid complex. This way we're all aware, because a lot of times when we have a bright idea, it's also triggering an emotion code. Now, I want you guys to just imagine for 1 second, the way the telepathic communication between me and the star people work is there's a space outside of your mind. And that space, the thoughts are coming in from here. And then as that frequency wave touches into your mind, it's like I can sense sometimes, not all the time, I can see or sense the thoughts outside of my mind before they hit the actual mind. So when I'm in the deep, trance channeling that I do with the star people, sometimes I'll see them I'll sense them reorganizing the thought stream before the thoughts come in. Sometimes if I need more clarification to give someone knowledge as I'm, talking to people, then they trigger a memory. So it's kind of like triggering a memory or shifting in a multiverse. So we're shifting timelines to a timeline in which that memory was in my current reality. So it's like having the knowledge instantaneously downloaded. However, we're also able to broadcast that knowledge as an upload because we utilize experientials. An experiential is when you sit there and you actively engage in, let's say, doing artwork or crafts. That every time you're doing it, you're getting better a little and little each time. All of that knowledge is being uploaded to the Akashic records, we call it, or the memory grid complex of the higher self. We have one surrounding the lower self, or us, the ego mind, and the body, but we also have a memory grid surrounding your soul form, which when we make an imprint in the physical body as well as the energetics in the ego mind, it can potentially have an effect on the higher self as well. Yes.
That was a lot.
I know. I'm so glad it's recorded.
Okay, so they're putting a memory in, or I'm getting a memory right now of how I used to have to like rewind and go back and listen to your stuff over and over. I was like, I still didn't get that. And then finally I'm like, okay, so the book, I can reread and use a different sense, an additional sense.
Yes.
So
well, it's also the knowledge that the star people channel through me. It's a frequency as well. But the second that you hear it, you cannot unring a bell. And so what that means is that the second that you hear it, your subconscious mind absorbs it. And now all of a sudden, that frequency of their words is starting to change or shift your frequency to put you more on alignment with the path of ascension. That's why we call the show Starseed Activations, because the star people are activating all of us to assist us in ascension. Yeah.
Yes. And I have felt that, every time we're on here, every time I'm preparing, every time I talk to you, every time I think about the star people. I think I channeled Teresa this morning. I think she gave me a poem, actually. When I call them in, I called Teresa in. And asked about ascension. And I was like, I think, these are so real. And Mary Jean says, I love the book. I feel like it is activating me. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Just having it. I remember you. Yeah. I remember you saying like just having the book near us is activating.
We've also had the experience of having the book on someone's shelf, and then all of a sudden, a physically focused person came over and saw the beautiful colors of the cover and picked it up and then couldn't put it down. So it activates even the people who aren't aware of the spiritual information. It's a great Christmas gift.
Yes. Or coffee table book.
Yes.
Just leaving it out, right? Yeah. Leaving it out. So in this ascension journey, I am really curious to know about people who are not interested in ascension at all. They think it's silly. Like the person that picked up the book, they're like, what is this? What happens when higher frequency hits them?
Well, I mean, it depends.
What happens to their body?
It depends, because I mean, the book was written at such a level that physically focused people can open a page and they could pull something out of the book as well. But I do know from my personal experience, I do know that sometimes people's attachments, they do get triggered when a higher frequency person is around, especially if you're aware of attachments. It's like the attachments scream because they want the person to leave because they don't want to get cleared. So people get triggered when they're around higher frequency, people or light beings. It's the same thing. We're all light beings. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. It's like the magnets, the wrong side of the magnets, instead of attracting, they repel, right?
Yeah. Well, it's really, well, what happens when you're around a toxic person? Or let's say you're in a group of people and a toxic person walks into the room. You're going to feel that toxicity right away. But that toxicity comes with attachments. So the second that, every single person who watches my stuff knows about the attachments, it's like when you guys walk around, the attachments know, they could see it in your field. So they know that that they're there. And then, it triggers people because they don't want to get cleared. It's their meal. So
interesting. And I wonder, so we talked a little bit about music frequency last week. You were doing the drums and stuff. When something like bowls, the Tibetan bowls, the crystal bowls, the music frequency, and some people will say, well, that kind of hurts my ears.
Because they're not in alignment. Now, it's funny. Okay. It's funny that you're bringing this up, But when you raise your frequency, you will be in alignment with the crystal bowls. Now, I personally had an essential oil, the mister in my bathroom. And like I've done so much frankincense into that thing and I never smell it. Well, I'm spending the past week here and it's like I'm painting the entire house. So it's like I went through all the kids' stuff. I started, releasing stuff left and right. Well, today I put the little incense burner thing on, and all of a sudden the entire bathroom smelled like frankincense. So what did that mean? That meant
I don't
that
know.
the location was at a low frequency, and so the people who walked in were not able to smell the frankincense. The second the location got cleansed and purified, now you could smell the frankincense. We didn't change anything else in the bathroom except the walls. There's nothing else really there. So it had to be a
Interesting.
frequency modification that was done. But I've had that experience.
Because it was so obvious.
Yes. It was so obvious.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I smell the frankincense. The whole room smells like it. Yeah.
Wow.
That happens. And the same thing will happen with candles, right? You'll go and you'll smell something and it won't smell to you at all. And someone else will be like, wow, this candle's amazing. I had this with the little metal things that the monks they bring it together and it's on a string.
Oh yeah, the bells.
Yeah, the little bells.
I think they call them bells, yeah.
I had one of those and I rang it and there's nothing. It made the noise and then it went out real quick. And so, but then I gave it to one of my friends and she rang it and the entire house sounded like bells. And I was like, it didn't do that for me. So it's because there wasn't a frequency alignment. Pay attention, because now that you're aware, you'll start to see it all the time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what about drumming? What about the frequency of drumming?
Okay,
I
so
feel
it
like
really
bowls
depends.
are a higher frequency just because they're crystal. But what do I know?
Well, all music has its place. So violins can be known to heal the body of cells when they become overgrown. So think about that. Anybody, I can't use the exact word, but violins heal that. Anyone who's very anxious inside, if they go and they sit next to running water, that calms that down. So that's all from trauma. So running water, anyone who's been through a severe trauma and feels rattled, put a water fountain in your room. It doesn't have to be big. Get a tiny one and just sleep with all the lights off. Put all the electronics outside of your room. Just listen to the running water and just be at peace and feel inside of your body. This will help you tremendously. There's different natural frequencies that we have on this planet. And so even going into woods, the trees itself are resonating a frequency. We can't hear it, but we know for a fact the mycelium network, they are all communicating using a form of electricity underneath the surface of our feet. So when we start to recognize, okay, there's a very slight hum in the woods. It's very slight, but it also is a frequency. You can go into the woods and you can ask Mother Earth and she will fine tune your energetic grids. That's a solid fact. You can also ask her for different attunements. And the more and more time you spend in nature, she starts to encode your frequency with more of an earth grounding frequency. It's beautiful. So really tuning back into nature and being back in where we're meant to be. That's where we're taking this planet. And so, but there's going to be multiple fractals happening all across the board. We have some people who are very technologically focused. And so those people have to be free to follow that path because that's their highest passion. And so if they weren't meant to be here, it wouldn't be their highest passion. But then we're also seeing the people who are branching out more, coming back onto the earth, growing their own food, setting up tiny home communities, right? And really grounding and holding more of a spiritual nature inside. This is the way evolution always goes on every single planet. It's like a split. But we also take into consideration when 1% of the Earth's population, to start people saying it's more like 3% of the Earth's population, becomes aware of certain knowledge, it then allows for the entire human consciousness shift to shift. And when that shift happens, it allows all the people to become consciously aware of that new information. So if we think about this, we're each in our own independent timeline bubble. That timeline bubble allows me to experience my reality, but also to make direct changes to the simulation as I see fit. Now, many times, different types of breath work can unlock your mind to be able to see the instantaneous shifts that we're able to do. But when we're holding a high enough frequency, we will automatically start to see things that are unexplainable coming into our current reality. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Wow, that was a lot too. Like I have 20 different questions I could ask you. And I didn't ask you the 20 different ones that I was going to ask you the last time you said something.
Yes.
Oh, so you said
So funny.
multiple fractals are happening. Can you
Yes.
tell us, remind us what fractals are? Because I think of a fractal more as a noun than multiple fractals are happening. So can you tell
A
me
noun
how
is
a
a
fractal?
person, place, or thing. Is a noun, a person, place, or thing. And so a
Right.
fractal, I'm a fractal of the source. You're a fractal of the source. But every single thing that you see in the reality is also a fractal of the source. So every blade of grass, every tree, every animal, every insect, they are all fractals of the source frequency.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can say we are happening. The tree is
Yes.
happening. Like just
Yes.
in general, fractals are moving, the pieces are moving, the gears are turning. Okay. Thank you for that. So you were just talking about Mother Earth also. And on page 152, this is density and motion. It says, when an individual holds higher frequency coding, they shall notice their body may feel full of energy, and they rarely feel the need to sit still.
Yes. Think about how we express ourselves when we're very excited and happy. So, a lot of times you'll hear people say, "Oh, I was jumping for joy." And so, when we are in
Right.
excitement and we're holding that emotion code, it
Yep.
literally makes us jump for joy. We get so excited, and it's like it's the entire day will fly by at the blink of an eye. We just had a 27, 27, 27 synchronicity. This, I don't know why that's important, but the star people like say it out loud so everyone can Google it. Somebody needs it.
Okay.
But yes, when we stay in that divine alignment, it's like you'll open your eyes first thing in the morning, and then
Yep.
all of a sudden the entire day goes by very rapidly, and it's like, wow. But that's part of the process of raising our frequencies, because the more and more we start to do that or see that in our current reality, it is going to allow us to activate a type of, it's like instantaneous manifestation times 1,000. So it really is taking control of your 0 point, which is located inside of your heart chakra system. And that 0 point is above time and space. It's connected to the higher self. So the more we are able to stay in that higher frequency of authenticity or higher, it's going to allow for these types of experiences until we're in full control over everything that we see. It really is raising us out of 3D and into 5D is what this is. Yeah.
And so the 0 point, is that synonymous with the now moment? Like, I feel like you can also, they're not synonymous because you can feel more of a 0 point and be present and aware in the now moment.
Yes. Well, you have to, if I showed you how it worked, it's kind of like an X, right? And so the X goes like this, but it also goes upwards like a cross. And so the 0 point is inside of the heart. There's these little cells. It's like a tachyon particle. So it connects you. It's only like 40,000 cells inside of the heart, but we call it like the tiny brain inside of the heart. Now, those cells connect you directly to the higher self, which your higher self is above time and space. that's just a different reality the higher self is existing in altogether. Now, the more we start to tune into the 0 point, you have to realize the information coming to you, it's reversed from what it actually is. So we know this because science will even tell us we see the world this way, but it's actually reversed, and then your brain is flipping the image. The 0 point does the same exact thing. That's how the entire system works. It's like a reversal, and then it flips. We can also take a look at reverse speech. Reverse speech does the same exact thing. So this is because we are living in duality. That's okay too. Now, whenever that light, that information comes in, it gets reversed, and then all of a sudden we are the one who does, like, it's like the energy flows outwards and it's flowing inwards at the same time. So it's more cyclic in its nature, and we are able to fully step into that 0 point and start casting from the 0 point. But sometimes that casting must also go back inward, because you can send love and light outward, but you truly have to come to peace and with yourself to make any sort of changes or modifications right now to the world as you see it. When we start to instantaneously manifest, many times it looks like releasing resistance and allowing whatever wants to come to us to come to us. When we release that resistance, we are tuning directly into the 0 point, because we are being at peace with whatever we see in the now moment. Yes.
Thank you. That description makes a lot of sense to me. So I don't have 20 questions about that. So that's perfect. So
thanks, Judy.
It says the new knowledge coding. Okay. When an individual raises their consciousness level, this indicates an energetic raise in frequency state, as well as new knowledge coding that becomes available for download. So what is this additional new knowledge coding? Are we pulling that down too from our higher self?
Yeah. It's always in alignment. And so let's take the crystal for one more explanation. Now, when we hold the crystal, we can't, well, not all of us. If you could see the energy field, what you would see happening is you would see a particular color lighting up in the field. And what that is the energetic grid that becomes activated with the emotion code that the crystal is holding. Now, the crystals can also activate the thought grids, star people are saying, but right now we're just focused on the emotion grids. So when we know that there is a feeling, that's a sensation, or it's something that we can perceive inside of us, that means if we have something that we release. So let's take, for an example, this crystal. Let's say, I love and bless you, crystal. We're not releasing you, but just saying. If we release a crystal, now all of a sudden that emotion code, because we had an energetic cord connecting this crystal to me, I'm the owner. So that means that the information from this crystal is in my energy field. When I release an item, my energy field, and the way I kind of describe this is like, just imagine that you had a mark here in the energy field. When you release the item, that mark disappears, leaving a wide open spot so that you're able to download new information coding. Now, information coding can include new food. It can include new items. It can include new people, but it truly depends on what area of the energetic grid that item was located in. So if you release a person, for an example, another person will come in. But it has to be similar or equivalent depending on the chakra the item is held in. Yes.
Okay. So this page, knowledge activation, also talks about lifespan. So after knowledge coding, it says, this may be seen reflecting in the civilization consciousness as well, which you just talked about. When individuals step into a golden age, technology of peacekeeping abilities shall manifest. With that technology comes the advancement of knowledge among people. Lifespans shall also increase with the planetary frequency raising.
Yeah.
Do the star people want to talk about that, or would you like to talk about that? That's kind of
Sure.
big.
So the technologies, and this is another reason why, and I didn't understand this until very recently. Another reason why the star people were very adamant about don't focus on the technologies is because it acts like a manifestation. The more you talk about it, the more people are going to focus on technologies, the more that's going to manifest. We want to skip the technology and we want to activate it in ourselves. So what happens when we truly start to activate a golden age, then all of a sudden we are the technology, because there's certain frequencies that each and every one of us is able to hold, and those frequencies will actually radiate a sense of magnetism into the surrounding environmentals, and that frequency is going to allow for a cleaner existence to manifest. So that cleaner existence is, let's say for an example, we know that you can summon different earth elementals. So let's say you wanted to summon a lightning storm. You're able to do that. Each and every one of us is able to do that. You just need to know the emotion code. How does it feel sitting in the lightning? How does it feel? How does the atmosphere feel? How does the ozone feel? How do you smell when there's about to be a rainstorm? So you have to hold the emotion codes, and through holding the emotion codes, it'll allow that energy to cast upwards into the atmosphere, which then in turn is going to start the process of manifestation. Many times, because of time and space, when an individual is in a lower frequency consciousness or a lower brick of consciousness, they would have to dive into a meditation and hold that emotion code during the meditation in order to see or perceive it manifesting. Each individual watching here has gone through some form of energetic attunements, which shall now allow for an energetic casting to be fully readily available for each of you. This energetic casting is going to look like summoning the weather. When you sit and you feel the emotion of a beautiful blue sky, sunshiny, warm day, imagine and visualize that. And then, ever so humbly, dear ones, thank Mother Earth for giving you that experience. Now, you must have no expectations. No expectations means it is okay if it comes. It is okay if it doesn't come. When you do that, it shall come for you. Yes.
Yes. So I would love if it's to be a beautiful sunshiny day tomorrow. Would that be right? So sometimes
there's
go ahead.
different ways too. So, and like Teresa was saying, there's some times when we would have to get into the meditation, but even if you're doing a walking meditation, if you're just happy and grateful and you raise your frequency, you can broadcast a higher magnetic field, which will also start to have an effect on all locations where you are as like a radius. So you may notice a ring of blue open above your head. You may notice that wherever you are, there's more peace. You have to go inside. You have to do the shadow work first. Always. Yeah.
Yes. And thank you, Teresa. Mary Jean says, I love that paragraph. And April says, I can't wait to get paid so I can buy your book.
Thank you. It's our book.
Our book.
Our book. This book is only here because of my Facebook people. And so I would just write down the posts that the star people gave me and put it out free for all the people on my Facebook. So
is it shareable, by the way? Can people share your content on their pages?
Yeah. I tell everyone, every single Facebook post I post is for the collective. Take the knowledge, copy it, paste it, save it in your notepads. It's okay to share. I don't mind. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So getting back super fast to rarely feeling the need to sit still.
Yes.
When I read this, I thought of when people are having their ascension symptoms, and we don't want to focus, I know we don't want to focus on the symptoms that might be uncomfortable and all of that stuff. Having an understanding of why they happen, though, might help us not
Yes.
focus on them, right?
It's
What about like,
important to focus on them. So it's not
okay,
that you want to focus too much, but to have the
okay,
understanding and to know, okay, this is normal. That's okay too. See, and this is a lot of my work. You know, there's a lot of spiritual teachers out here that you may notice, and they only focus on the light, but that's not where we live, right? I've walked the darkness. I'm experiencing the darkness, and now I'm being shown the light. And so we need to know and master both. You need to walk your darkness. You need to go through your trials, your tribulations, and then we have to know how to heal all of that so we can raise our frequency. You need
right.
both. You have to do both.
Okay. So when somebody has buzzing in the ears or ringing in the ears,
Mm-hmm.
is that a symptom of being high vibration and the start of like higher energetic frequency, or?
Well, if it's not caused by the actual ear, it is
Right.
caused by the pineal gland.
Okay.
And we all know what the pineal gland does. That's a
Yes.
spiritual gland that connects us. So, yes.
Yes. And a lot of times when somebody is channeling or somebody is going through hypnosis, or maybe even when you have the entity removal sessions and people are like jerking, twitching, they're like, oh, I can't stop my leg from moving.
Yes.
That is another symptom of this. It's not just a general buoyancy in mood extended to the physicality. It's literally,
it's frequency technology, except we are the technology, our body, and we're able to cast our frequencies. So think about it this way. We can see certain technological machines that generate a frequency and it can move us. So a speaker, we feel it, right? A speaker can push you back. It could make you feel
Right.
that type of resistance. So
Right.
when we are doing energy clearings on people's field, it's the same exact thing as that. Same thing. We're just clearing their grid so that more light can be absorbed. Yeah.
Wonderful. And the relationship between the pineal gland, is the spinal column an extension of the pineal gland? Because I focus a lot
The
on the
entire
two of them
body.
together.
The entire body is fully connected. However, we have the
Okay.
water elemental, which is cerebral spinal cord fluid that flows up the spinal tract and the spinal cord, they're saying.
Yeah.
And through utilizing the breath work, we're able to pull this oil back up and it generates a piezoelectric effect, which then starts to open and flower the pineal gland. That is very important because if you are trying to access the astral realms or the interdimensional realms, then accessing your pineal gland and flowering it open is key. Now, when you flower open your heart chakra subsystems, it is also going to flower open a foot out of the body. And so that flower being open and opening the pineal gland flower, and then the third and final flower is on top of the crown chakra. When three of these are aligned, it allows for a type of communication with the higher self as well as your angelic guides. There is also different types of energetics that must also be performed. I don't know what that was.
I don't know.
That sounded like a bomb outside my window.
It sounded like a like
Did you
mic
hear
drop.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like thunder.
Yeah.
I hope it was thunder. Jeez. Damn.
So
Okay.
3 flowers are open. I mean, it makes so much sense. The symbolism of the lotus flower, the blooming, a lot of our initial messages when we start, being psychic, medium, or connecting with these other realms, the higher realms, so many flower images.
Yes.
And this is a big reason why. Okay.
Yes.
I love that.
It's amazing.
So how does one know that their flowers are open, all 3 flowers?
Mm-hmm. Well, the heart will heal. So it feels
Okay.
like fingers are opening like this. I show people like this, but it feels like fingers are opening and it's a foot out from the body. You can feel it open. The pineal gland, you'll know right away that it's open because you'll see. And then the crown chakra, you'll be able to feel as you are pulling your soul form up. You'll be able to feel it flower open because it's like a pressure on top of your head. It kind of feels like someone is touching the top of your head. And then when all these things are in alignment, we can truly start. This is a start. This isn't, it's a beginning. But it's the beginning of truly taking control of our true multidimensionality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is interesting that you say this is a start. Like once they're open, then you start, because it's such a journey to open those individually,
Yes, it is.
right? So I get a lot of visions of stages or doors opening with the heart chakra. So that makes a lot of sense too,
Yes.
that it's
There's also a gland in the roof of the mouth. And so we have a soft, bumpy part in the back of the mouth, and it's right, in front of it. And when we wiggle it left and right, it kind of pops out, kind of looks like a sunflower seed.
okay.
And so if we took it and put across, there's 4 quadrants of it. So those 4 quadrants start to stimulate the brainwave patternings and start to summon alpha brainwaves. The more and more we are able to wiggle that gland and dive into the heart and feel our happy thought. What is the one thought in your life that makes you feel the happiest? Feel that thought, sense that thought, wiggle the gland, and wait with your eyes closed until you see green. The second that you see green, it could be green, green yellow, or green blue, but then you'll know the higher self is fully engaged with you. Now, any manifestations of a larger scale, they can be done from inside the heart. That's how you do it.
Wonderful. I think we should journey inside the heart sometime. We should make,
Definitely.
lead people into the heart. I've done it once. I'd love to do it with you.
We could do an online meditation if everyone wants to come.
Yeah, opening the heart
We'll do it.
meditation.
Yeah.
For me, it was very, very powerful. Literally sitting inside the physical heart with, seeing the 4 chambers, All right. So
Yeah.
I wonder if people would like to do that. That would be kind of fun.
Yes.
So it's 7:47. Do I have time for a couple more questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good. Because I have so many.
We got time. There's always time.
So I wrote here, what does open heart mean? That's my question. Jessica Martinez says, I'm in. She wants the heart. Girl, your heart is so open. Each open heart shall start to radiate higher frequencies into Mother Earth's energetic grids, which shall assist in raising her frequency. Yes. This new wave of frequencies shall affect every living being on your planet and shall shift the consciousness grids back into a positive polarity and manifestation for all. My question is, are we doing this now? It says each open heart shall start, and then it says this new wave, as like we're looking into the future. It feels like we're doing it now.
We are. We totally are. But it's everyone also needs to recognize that the way we shift through time and space, so there's an indefinite amount of timelines. So right now, and time and space doesn't exist at all. It's all an illusion. It's all happening right in this very moment, and it's controlled by the 0 point. Now, that means that there is already an earth that is already healed. All the people are peaceful, loving. They all have all of their needs met. The environment is totally clean, and everyone is happy and healthy. And maybe the spiritual movement is like the top of the page everyone is focused on. That reality is already here. We just have to match frequencies or magnetism, really, to put ourselves in alignment to blink and open our eyes, and then it's here. We can do this through certain types of meditations. We can see it, but the physical body has to be encoded with that magnetism to allow for that reality to come into your life. So we know this because the law of attraction shows us how to do baby steps to change our magnetism to really manifest whatever it is that we want, no matter how big or small. That's great. That law of attraction is utilizing the brain, though. Whenever we utilize the brain, there's always polarity that we have to experience with every manifestation. So you have to experience the bad and you have to experience the good. Both polarities cross cancel that experiential. That's how the mind works. The simulation works with the mind. What I'm telling you guys to do is you have to drop into the heart, because those tachyon particles that shoot above time and space, they work outside of the bounds of logical thinking. You don't have to think, you just have to feel. And when you feel and you trust and you believe, literally, what is it? It's faith the size of a mustard seed, and then you could move mountains. That's because you were dropping into the heart, and the heart controls everything that you see. So if you're able to drop into the heart and really do the shadow work first, release any darkness, any densities in your field, and then start shining love and light, cast it inwards to heal yourself, cast it outwards to heal yourself and the environment that you see. But then really start doing meditations, start trying to make two-way communication or contact with your higher self, which then in turn is going to allow for a process of energetic bonding, dear ones. The energetic bonding is going to allow your higher self to take his or her seat inside of your heart chakra, which then is going to automatically put each of you on the highest potential timeline experience. This looks like you having the most amount of fun. Now, your solar energetics are triggering these ascension symptoms, dear ones, so that it can guide you to release densities that need to be released in order to allow you to feel and experience true unconditional love, which is light in its nature, for that is what you are made of. And we are sending you many love and blessings, dear ones.
Thank you so much. And there are so many people that I missed. Said Mary Jane said, yes, please. I want to do the heart meditation. Laura Fahey, Nancy Hadley, Jessica Martinez says, April and Miriam said, I would love the meditation, please, too. Yeah, it was so powerful.
I think doing it on a live would be best, so that it'll be on YouTube for everyone to replay. Right?
Do you think we should do that next week?
We could do it next week. Next week works. Tuesday, Wednesday, what day?
Next week on Tuesday. I mean, we could do half of the meditation and half, we could pick let's put it on the calendar for next week.
We'll mark it down. You remember.
I will remember, because I have my pencil. We can definitely put it down.
Okay, so what we'll do then is we'll do 30 minutes as a meditation. We'll stop the live, and then we'll start it back up. This way it's two separate YouTube videos.
Okay.
Make sense? This way,
yes.
Because I know if they're like watching it, right, and it's a meditation and it has a sound and we're getting into the heart, if someone falls asleep and it's on repeat, they're not going to want to hear 30 minutes of talking. Do you know what I mean? So we try and keep it separate. We don't want to program anyone's subconscious mind without, like a warning, like, hey, I'm going to program you to be the best version of you possible.
So I'm thinking from 7 to 7:30, we can do a chapter and prepare for the meditation. We'll all go off.
Perfect.
And then go back on 7:35.
Yes. Beautiful.
Or something like that. But we'll announce it and get it all set for the first half so everyone will know.
We'll have to have two separate links.
Yeah.
So, but yes, we'll post all the links for the meditation. Everything will be on my Facebook. So there's Danielle, it's L. Lipton, or the Tree of Life Organization on Facebook. So that this way you could find next Tuesday's links for the lives.
Wonderful. I'm excited for that. Really excited for that. Are you doing the shadow work Zoom tonight?
You know what? I'm painting. So I think
And you're smelling frankincense. So
I love, yes, I still have a whole bathroom, and yeah, I reorganized my daughter's entire room. So it was extensive. I still have to do her closet, but I mean, her room looks like immaculate. I'm
oh, that's
like
so
enjoying
exciting.
it before she gets home. Yes.
Yeah, I
So
love
I
that.
had the Jamaican drum. It's a pan drum. So that's like my new thing, is a pan drum or a steel drum.
Yeah.
I've been listening to it all day on YouTube.
I love that. That is
It's great.
wonderful. So,
Yes.
April, it will be the same time. April asks, is it Central Time, or it's going to be the
Yeah.
same time as this? We're just going to cut it into two different parts. So the first part will be the first half an hour, and then the heart meditation will be the second half an hour, 7 p.m.
Yes.
Eastern, or whatever time it is for you now.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm
no,
Eastern time.
yeah, no shadow
No
work
shadow
Zoom
work
tonight.
today. Yes.
So I'm looking to make sure. Oh, okay. Hold on.
Thank you, Michael. He said it's great to have me back. I know I took a good 3 weeks off. We have to, sometimes we break, sometimes I
Yeah.
go and I hike in the creek walk, which is like,
Yeah.
it's been a journey.
Yep.
The past 3 weeks has really been like, I really do encourage every single person to dive in deep. It's okay from social media. It's okay to connect with phone. It's okay to stop, your eating patterns and to recalibrate to plants or whatever you guys feel called to do. It's okay to make changes. And it's really okay to have time to go into meditations and to dive in and do self-growth. The way I see it, every single time I leave you guys, because I've noticed now it's a cycle, like I leave for like a week or two and then I'm back, but I always feel like I'm better calibrated to the information that is more in a line for all of us. Yeah. So I just thank the star people for walking me through my personal ascension and for teaching me, because that really is what they're doing. And it's just truly a blessing to have them as part of our journey, because they are here and they are ready, willing, and able to help and assist all of us. When I say that they are here, I mean that they can hear us, they can see us, they know who every single one of us watching this throughout time and space, they know who we are. And if we just ask them for help, they will step up and they will help us. They may talk to you telepathically. They may line up synchronistically so that you see things, or if you need like a healing modality, all of a sudden it's very easy for you to come into alignment with things. That is how they are helping us. So just always stay, have gratitude and just be grateful and say thank you. And, just allow them to come and help us to heal the planet and to heal humanity.
Yes.
Yes.
And thank you, Danielle, for being a living example of walking the walk and not just talking the talk.
Yes. Always.
Yeah. Really,
I ate
you
tomatoes today.
Yeah.
I don't eat. Oh, I used to never eat tomatoes. It was like not happening. My starman, he got me to eat tomatoes. He was like, "You'll love them. They're like the tastiest things. I think they're from Japan. It's wonderful." Yeah. So even
have you tried yellow tomatoes?
No, not yet. I just had the red ones. But it's new
so
knowledge, right? And of course, he picked today out of all days. He's like, we're going to go get new food for new experiences, new information, new light, and then see how you feel. And so it's like when you're scared to eat something because you don't know how it tastes, and then all of a sudden you try it and you're like, wow, this is pretty good, right? It allows you to step into a new timeline in which you are able to engage with that frequency. Even though it's something small, it's only a tomato, that's a frequency. It triggers different emotions inside of your mouth. And so we energetically bond with the food. And so even by pulling in something small as a tomato, but the color matters because it's red, it's actually affecting your root chakra system. The yellow ones are going to start to have an effect on the solar plexus. So it's kind of like, yes. So pulling in new information, it's not always a book or a podcast or anything like that. Sometimes it's new crystals or
an experience.
An experience. Yes.
Right. Okay. An emotion and all of it, just anything in our dimension.
Yes.
Bring into our dimension. Okay. So Lynn says, I do not have Facebook and want to do the heart meditation. Next week, it's going to be at this time. However you're watching, we're going to live stream it. The only difference is that we're going to have the first half hour and the second half an hour as separate videos.
Oh, do you know what, Lynn? On my website, daniellelipton.com, if you scroll all the way down, it live screens all of the lives. So whenever I go live, it's always on my website. So you could just go daniellelipton.com, scroll down, and then the video will be there automatically.
Yep. And
I made
however
that
you're watching it
easier.
right now.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
made that
However you're watching
easier.
it right now on YouTube, it'll be on YouTube. If you're watching it
Yes.
on Facebook, it'll be on Facebook.
Perfect.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It is 8 o'clock.
It's time.
I wish you
Thank
love,
you.
light, and blessings and happy painting.
Thank you. And we
And
just
thank
want
you
to
so
say
much.
thank you, Star People, for channeling with us tonight. Thank you for
Yes.
bringing forward the best information for the people watching. Thank you so incredibly much, my dear friend Jody Powers. Thank you for coming and helping me to host tonight's episode. And so I just want to personally send each and every one of you many, many love and blessings, and you have a wonderful night.
Thank you so much.
Yes.